Chosen one, there comes a time in every life where the silence feels louder than thunder and the darkness seems more faithful than light. You have walked through nights that felt endless, prayed prayers that echoed without answer, and held on to promises that seemed to fade beneath the weight of your own tears. The devil has whispered into your soul, weaving doubt through your spirit like a serpent wrapping around the branches of your belief. He has tried to convince you that God forgot you, that his promises were delayed because you were undeserving, that heaven had somehow grown deaf to your cries. But you must understand, his voice is not truth, it is a lie dressed in familiarity. His mission is not to destroy your body, it is to fracture your faith, because if he can make you doubt the promise, he can disconnect you from the power. If he can make you question your worth, he can silence the destiny that was written over your name before you even took your first breath. O chosen one, you have felt the weight of the waiting season, haven't you? That heavy pause where God says, not yet. But your soul is desperate for now. You have questioned if the vision was real, if the dream was divine, or if it was merely your imagination dressed in hope. The devil lurks in those pauses, feeding you the language of fear, making you wonder if maybe, just maybe, you heard wrong. But understand this, the promise was not a fantasy, it was a covenant. And God is not a man that he should lie. Every word he spoke over you will manifest in his time, in his way, for his glory. The enemy is terrified of that truth. That's why he attacked your belief system, not your bank account. That's why he came for your peace, not your possessions. Because he knows if he can drain your faith, he can derail your promise. But what he didn't account for was your resilience. He didn't know that even in silence you would still whisper his name. He didn't know that even in despair, your soul would still bow. He didn't know that when you were left broken, you would learn to rebuild with prayer as your cement and tears as your water. There were nights you lay awake wondering why it had to be you. Why you had to carry such a heavy assignment. Why your heart had to learn endurance through heartbreak. You saw others prosper while you remained in process. You watched doors open for those who barely knocked, while yours stayed locked despite your pounding. And in that pain the devil smiled, thinking the doubt would devour you. But the very fire that was meant to destroy you has purified you instead. You were refined, not ruined. The loneliness you endured was not punishment, it was preparation. God isolated you to insulate you from what was not meant to grow with you. You had to learn that divine delay does not mean divine denial. You had to see that silence is not absence, it is strategy. Chosen one, when God hides you, it's not because you are forgotten. It's because he is forming something in the unseen. Diamonds are not born in light, they are born in darkness under pressure. And you, beloved, have been under pressure. Every tear, every setback, every rejection, every betrayal was pressure shaping your promise. You have mistaken the process for punishment. But God was only pruning you so you could bear the fruit of your calling. You see, before the manifestation of any great promise, there comes a season of stripping. God removes people, places, habits, and attachments that would interfere with his plans for your life. And though it hurts, though it feels like loss, it is divine mercy in disguise. Because the truth is, not everyone can handle the promise God gave you. Not everyone is equipped to walk where he's sending you. So he separates before he elevates. You are not behind, you are being built. The devil has tried to tell you that you are too late, too old, too broken, too far gone. But what he calls delay, God calls development. What he calls failure, God calls foundation. You've been learning strength in hidden classrooms. You've been studying patience in unseen battles. You've been trained in silence to stand in storms. The devil wanted you to give up before you realized you were closer to the breakthrough than you'd ever been. But hear me, every spiritual attack you've faced was confirmation of the promise, not the cancellation of it. The devil only fights what threatens him. And you, chosen one, are a threat. Not because of who you are right now, but because of what God is about to birth through you. He can see your future even when you can't. He can smell the anointing that rests on your life. He knows that if you ever fully believe what God said, you will be unstoppable. That is why he fights so hard to make you doubt. Doubt is the poison that kills faith before faith can bloom. But you are awakening now. You are remembering who you are. The devil wanted you to see your wounds as weakness, but God is using them as weapons. Every scar you carry is proof that the devil's plans failed. Every tear you cried watered the soil for your next harvest. You are not the same as you were before the storm. You are wiser, stronger, and more aware of who walks beside you. You have learned that the promise does not depend on your perfection. It depends on God's faithfulness. And He has never failed. He will never fail. The same God who promised is the same God who performs. The same God who whispered destiny over your life is the same God who will deliver it. Do you know what happens when a chosen one believes again? When they rise from the ashes of disappointment and dare to hope once more, heaven moves. Angels stand guard, the ground begins to shift, because belief is the bridge between promise and manifestation. The devil wants you to stay stuck in fear, replaying what went wrong. But God wants you to lift your eyes and remember what He said. You have been through hell and still, you did not lose your mind. That alone is evidence that grace is real. You've been attacked but not annihilated, broken but not buried, forgotten by man but never by God. You have survived everything that was meant to destroy you, and that survival is the loudest testimony of all. There were times when you couldn't even pray, when your words got caught in your throat, and all you could offer God was a sigh. But even then, He understood. Even then He was working. He was aligning people, shifting timelines, orchestrating divine connections, all while you thought He was silent. The devil wanted you to believe that silence meant separation, but silence meant construction. God was building something beyond what your eyes could see. Sometimes He must withhold the blessing until you are strong enough to carry it. Sometimes He must let the storm rage until you learn that peace isn't the absence of chaos, it's the presence of God within it. Chosen one, lift your head. Your waiting was not wasted. Your pain was not pointless. The delays were divine and the detours were direction. You thought you lost time, but you were gaining strength. You thought you were buried, but you were planted. You thought God had forgotten you, but He was writing a testimony that would shake nations. The devil tried to make you doubt because he knows that faith is your weapon. He knows that when you believe again, chains break, curses crumble, fear flees. The moment you decide to believe despite what you see, heaven opens. The moment you declare, God, I still trust you, hell trembles. The devil doesn't mind if you pray without faith, if you sing without conviction, if you worship without surrender. But the moment you truly believe, deeply, unshakably believe, that what God said will come to pass, the war intensifies. Because faith frightens Him. It reminds Him of what He lost. He can't stand your faith because it connects you to divine authority. It reminds Him that no matter how long He fights, victory belongs to God's children. So He attacks your belief system. He floods your mind with lies. He plants fear in your heart. But you are awakening now to His strategies. You are learning to discern between the voice of the accuser and the whisper of the Almighty. You are realizing that doubt may knock on your door, but you no longer have to let it sit at your table. Every time you chose faith in the middle of uncertainty, you defeated the enemy. Every time you praised when you wanted to panic, you declared war on darkness. Every time you forgave when you wanted revenge, you rose higher in spirit. The devil tried to break you, but you became unbreakable. He tried to silence you, but your silence became sacred. He tried to bury your purpose, but he didn't know you were a seed. The more he covered you, the deeper you rooted. The deeper you rooted, the stronger you grew. And now you are about to bloom in the very place you were once buried. God's promises do not expire because of delay. They mature through it. He's been cultivating your faith in the waiting. He's been strengthening your spirit in the silence. And now you're stepping into a season where the promise will speak for itself. You will not have to prove what God said. The manifestation will be your evidence. The tables will turn, not because of revenge, but because of restoration. Every lie spoken against you will collapse under the weight of truth. Every delay will make sense in hindsight. Every wound will reveal wisdom. You will see that the devil's interference could never interrupt God's intention. Chosen one, this is your turning point. The devil has tried to keep you weary, distracted, and doubtful. But the fire in your spirit is reigniting. You are remembering the words God spoke when no one else believed in you. You are remembering the nights He carried you when you had nothing left. That same God is still here. He has not changed his mind about you. He still intends to bless you, use you, and elevate you beyond measure. What he spoke over your life will not return void. Every prophecy, every promise, every vision will unfold in divine timing. You must keep walking even when the road curves into uncertainty. You must keep trusting even when your heart trembles. The devil feeds on fear, but faith starves him. Faith tells him you may have tried, but you failed. Faith reminds him that you belong to the God who conquered death. Faith whispers, even this shall pass. You see, faith is not loud, it's steady. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't know how, but I know who. It's the steady whisper that says, God promised, and I believe. There will be moments when you feel that same whisper of doubt again, moments when you look around and see no evidence of the promise. In those moments, remember how far you've come. Remember the nights you thought would kill you, yet here you stand. Remember the prayers that once seemed unanswered but later bloomed into miracles. Remember that the devil tried to destroy you, but you are still standing, and not just standing, you are rising. Every day you rise is another day his plans fail. Every time you breathe in gratitude, you remind him that his grip was broken long ago. You are chosen not because of your perfection, but because of your perseverance. You were selected not for comfort, but for calling. The weight you carry is heavy because your destiny is holy. The devil knew your potential before you did. That's why he attacked you in infancy. Before your wings fully formed, he hoped to kill your faith early so you'd never soar. But you survived, you grew, you endured. And now you are about to see what all that warfare was protecting. God has been preparing a promise that will silence every doubt, every critic, every enemy that questioned your worth. So when the devil tries again, and he will, remind him of his place. Tell him you are no longer easily shaken. Tell him that what God promised, God will perform. Tell him that your faith is not for sale. Your purpose is not up for negotiation, and your heart no longer hosts fear. Tell him you've seen too much grace to believe his lies. Tell him you are walking in victory, not because of your strength, but because of the one who strengthens you. And as you move forward, remember this: your promise is not just for you. It's for everyone who will be inspired by your endurance. Someone will watch you rise from the ashes and find the courage to rise too. Someone will hear your testimony and begin to believe again. Someone will see the light in your eyes and remember that darkness doesn't win. You are a living letter of God's faithfulness. You are proof that no lie from the devil can rewrite what heaven has already sealed. So, chosen one, stand tall, wipe your tears, straighten your crown. The promise still stands. The waiting was worth it. The devil tried to make you doubt, but instead he made you stronger. You are stepping into a season where every no turns into a divine yes, where every closed door reveals a higher one, where every pain becomes purpose. The same God who started the work in you will complete it. The same God who saw you in your wilderness will walk you into your promised land. You were never forsaken, you were being fortified. You were never abandoned, you were being anointed. Now rise, beloved. Walk like the promise is already fulfilled. Speak like the miracle is already manifest. Believe like the breakthrough is already in motion. Because it is. Heaven is aligning. Angels are working. And the devil, once so loud, is now trembling in silence. You have won the war he started with doubt. You have reclaimed your faith. And now the promise of God, the one you almost gave up on, is about to find you, embrace you, and crown you with victory. The devil tried to make you doubt, but he failed. You believed again. And that, chosen one, is the beginning of everything God promised you. And yet, chosen one, even as the dawn begins to break and your spirit begins to rise from the ruins, you will still feel the echo of yesterday's pain. It lingers like smoke after fire, a reminder of battles fought in silence, of tears shed when no one was watching. But even in that ache there is glory. For the pain you feel is not proof of defeat. It is evidence that you survived what was meant to destroy you. You've been walking through the valley with wounds still open, yet each step you take leaves a trail of light behind you. Heaven watches in awe as you keep moving. Even when your heart feels heavy and your faith flickers. You don't realize it yet, but every trembling step is rewriting the story of your life. You are walking out of shadows into the sunlight of destiny. The promise is not just ahead of you, it's within you, waiting to unfold in the fullness of time. The devil thought that if he could break your heart, he could break your hope. He thought if he could shake your confidence, he could silence your calling. But the very thing he used to wound you, God has turned into the weapon of your victory. You have learned to turn pain into prayer, betrayal into boldness, and loss into wisdom. You've learned that sometimes God allows the breaking so the blessing can fit inside. Sometimes the crushing is the only way for oil to flow. You've been pressed, yes, but not crushed. You've been perplexed, but never forsaken. And even when you fell, the hand of God was underneath you, cushioning the fall, guiding you gently back to your feet. Chosen one, you must understand, your journey is sacred. It is not ordinary, and that is why it feels so heavy. The greater the calling, the greater the conflict. The devil has seen the crown on your head, even when you couldn't. He has seen the light in your eyes that marks you as heaven's property. That is why the attacks were so relentless. He knew that if you ever realized your authority, his hold on your mind would shatter. So he fed you lies in the language of your own thoughts. He told you that you weren't enough, that your prayers weren't working, that maybe God's promise was for others but not for you. But those were not your thoughts. They were seeds of deception planted in the soil of your wariness. But oh, how beautifully you've resisted. Even when doubt knocked, you opened the door to faith. Even when fear spoke, you listened for the still small voice that said, "Be still, I am here." And though your voice trembled, you still said yes. Though your hands shook, you still built. Though your eyes filled with tears, you still looked toward heaven. And that, chosen one, is where victory was won. Not in your perfection, but in your persistence. The devil cannot comprehend endurance, he only understands surrender. But you refused to surrender to his lies. You kept believing when believing made no sense. You kept walking when the road vanished beneath your feet. You kept hoping when everything screamed that it was over. And now, heaven is preparing to honor your endurance with evidence. Every promise God has ever spoken carries a divine clock, and the moment is coming when your time will strike. What once looked like delay will suddenly make sense as divine orchestration. You will look back and realize that the pieces fit perfectly, even when you thought they were shattered. You will see that every detour was not a denial, but a design. God was weaving together something far beyond your imagination. And when it finally unfolds, it will happen so swiftly, so gracefully, that you'll forget the years of waiting in the instant of fulfillment. You will understand that the delay was protection, that God was keeping you from premature blessing, because he loved you too much to let you settle for less. The devil tried to make you rush what was meant to ripen. He tried to convince you to settle in the wilderness when the promised land was only a few steps away. But God held you steady. He would not let you sabotage your own promise out of impatience. You see, chosen one, maturity is not measured by what you receive but by what you can wait for. The devil wants you impulsive, but God is teaching you endurance. The devil wants you anxious, but God is teaching you peace. The devil wants you restless, but God is teaching you rest in his timing. And now, because you waited, your harvest will not come in pieces. It will come in abundance. What was once taken will return multiplied. The devil took your sleep, but God is giving you peace that surpasses understanding. The devil stole your opportunities, but God is creating new doors where walls once stood. The devil thought he delayed your destiny, but he only deepened your roots. O chosen one, if you could see how heaven rejoices when you choose faith again. Every time you decide to believe rather than fear, angels sing. Every time you forgive the unforgivable, heaven records your grace. Every time you love after being betrayed, heaven bows in reverence to your strength. The devil tried to make you bitter, but you became better. He tried to make you cynical, but you became compassionate. He tried to make you afraid to trust again, but your heart, though scarred, is still soft. That is the miracle of divine preservation. That is what separates the chosen from the crowd. Anyone can believe when it's easy, but it takes divine courage to believe after heartbreak. You've been through storms that would have broken lesser souls. You've walked through fires that left no visible burns because grace was your covering. You've stood in front of doors that refused to open, and still, you knocked. You've prayed prayers that seemed to dissolve into silence, yet still, you spoke his name. That is faith, not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust despite it. and that faith has built something inside you that cannot be shaken. You no longer believe because of what you see. You believe because of who He is. You no longer trust because of what you feel. You trust because of what He promised. The devil trembles now not because of your perfection, but because of your perseverance. He threw everything at you: loss, loneliness, confusion, temptation. But you are still here. You still wake up with hope. You still speak life over your future. You still carry love in a world gone cold. That is divine strength, the kind that hell cannot comprehend. You've turned pain into power, waiting into wisdom, struggle into surrender. You are not just surviving anymore. You are stepping into the flow of divine fulfillment. The same God who parted seas and raised the dead is breathing life into your destiny. And when your promise comes, and it will not be subtle. It will not whisper, it will roar. The tables will turn in ways that silence your doubters and shock your enemies. The devil who once mocked your faith will be forced to watch it manifest. The people who walked away will witness your elevation. The doors that slammed shut will open wider than before. You won't have to prove anything. Your peace will speak, your joy will testify, your abundance will tell the story. God is about to make you a living example that no attack can cancel His anointing. Remember, chosen one, what the devil meant for evil, God always turns for good. The betrayals became bridges. The heartbreak became healing. The rejection became redirection. Nothing was wasted, not even your tears. Every drop that fell watered the soil of your promise. Every sleepless night became a seed in the garden of destiny. And now that garden is about to bloom. You will walk among miracles that carry your fingerprints, and you'll realize they were planted during the darkest hours. The devil tried to make you doubt God's promise, but all he managed to do was push you closer to it. Because every time you questioned, you prayed harder. Every time you felt weak, you reached higher. Every time he whispered, "Give up," you whispered, "God, help me." And that whisper was enough. God heard every sigh, every cry, every quiet plea you thought went unnoticed. He was there in the silence, not absent but attentive. He watched you hold on when everything inside you wanted to let go. He saw the fight in your spirit and said, "This one is mine." And now the heavens are opening. The season of doubt is dissolving into revelation. The clouds are breaking and light is flooding every shadow. You will feel it, an unexplainable peace rising within you, a certainty that cannot be shaken, a knowing that God is fulfilling every word. You will wake up one morning and the heaviness will be gone. The fear will lose its voice. The confusion will clear. You'll step into a reality that once only existed in your prayers, and you'll understand the wait was worth it. So hold your head high, chosen one. Walk boldly into what God is bringing you. The devil tried to bury your belief, but faith cannot die, it only transforms. You are not who you were when the battle began. You are wiser, stronger, softer, more compassionate, more discerning. You carry heaven in your voice and courage in your bones. You have become the living proof that God's promises outlast the devil's lies. And when people ask how you made it, you will smile and say, "By grace." You will tell them of nights when you almost gave up, but something unseen held you together. You will tell them of days when everything said, "No," but your spirit whispered, "God is still good." You will tell them that doubt knocked often, but faith answered louder. You will tell them that the devil tried, but God triumphed. And as you speak, your words will heal others still wrestling with their own unbelief. Your story will become the seed of someone else's breakthrough. Chosen one, your time has come. You are not waiting anymore, you are walking into manifestation. You are stepping into the moment God wrote for you before the foundation of the world. Every obstacle, every heartbreak, every delay was just preparation for this unveiling. The devil cannot stop what God has ordained. The storm may rage, but it will not drown you. The fire may burn, but it will not consume you. You are marked by grace, protected by purpose, and carried by promise. So rise, beloved. Lift your eyes to the heavens that have always watched over you. The devil tried to make you doubt, but instead, he awakened your divine determination. He tried to make you weak, but you became a warrior. He tried to silence you, but now your voice carries the sound of victory. You are chosen, anointed, unstoppable. And when you finally walk into everything God promised, you will understand. It was never delayed, only designed. The devil tried to make you doubt, but all he did was make your faith unbreakable. And that chosen one is why you have already won. And yet, even as the victory draws near, chosen one, you will feel the faint trembling of the soul, that subtle hum of uncertainty that lingers after long suffering. It's the residue of years spent believing for something your eyes could not see. The devil will try to use even this moment of nearing breakthrough to whisper again, to tempt you with the thought that maybe it's too late, maybe you missed it, maybe the promise was only a dream. But hear this truth deep in your spirit: God does not tease his children with hope. When he said he would do it, he meant it. When he placed that dream inside you, it was not imagination, it was prophecy. The ache in your chest is not doubt, it's divine expectation awakening again. You are standing on holy ground, on the very threshold of everything you've prayed for. The devil senses it, that's why he's trembling. That's why he's trying one last time to cloud your vision, to turn your heart against your own destiny. But he will fail again, because you've seen too much light to fear the darkness now. The nights have been long, yes, but even long nights end with morning. You will soon feel the warmth of a sunrise that has been waiting to meet you. It will not just be the light of a new day, but the dawn of a new you. The old version of you, the one who doubted, the one who carried the weight of other people's disbelief, the one who kept apologizing for dreaming too big. That version has died quietly in the night. What will rise in its place is unshakable faith, untouchable peace, and a fire that will not go out again. The devil tried to make you question your worth, but you are finally remembering that you were chosen not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You carry heaven's signature in your soul. You are not ordinary dust, you are divine breath. You were sent here on assignment, and every attack you endured was proof of your importance. The devil does not waste his time on the insignificant. He went after you because he knew the light you carry would expose his darkness. He tried to break you because your faith terrifies him. But you did not break, you bent in the wind, you wept in the storm, but you remained rooted. And now, your roots have gone so deep that no storm can uproot you again. You have learned what it means to stand even when no one stands with you. To stand when your prayers return in whispers. To stand when your knees shake but your heart still beats with belief. That's where strength is born, in the standing. And every time you stood instead of surrendering, heaven recorded it as victory. So even when you thought you were losing, you were winning in the unseen. The devil saw it and grew afraid, because every trial that was supposed to break you built a bridge between you and your destiny. Every heartbreak that was meant to hollow you out only made more room for God's glory to dwell. Chosen one, you have spent years learning the language of loss, but now heaven is teaching you the melody of fulfillment. The same tears that once watered the ground of your pain will now become rivers of joy. The same heart that once ached will now overflow with gratitude. The same mouth that once whispered, "Why me?" will now declare, "Thank you, Lord, it was worth it." You will see with your own eyes what faith looks like when it finally touches reality. The devil will be silenced not because you fought him, but because God fulfilled what he promised. For when God speaks, no lie can undo his word. When he blesses, no curse can remain. There were moments, weren't there, when you thought it would be easier to stop believing? When your soul whispered, "I'm tired," and your hope barely flickered. Those moments were not signs of weakness. They were proof of your humanity. But in those moments, grace carried you. Angels surrounded you. Even when you couldn't pray, your spirit groaned prayers that heaven understood. Even when you couldn't see the way, the light within you still burned. The devil thought exhaustion would extinguish it. But the flame inside you was not yours, it was divine. It came from the same breath that spoke galaxies into motion. That's why you could not quit, even when quitting seemed logical. That's why something in you kept rising every time you fell. Because you are powered by promise. And promise cannot die. You must know, chosen one, that your life has always been under divine surveillance. Every tear has been counted, every sigh heard, every moment remembered. God was never far, he was in every shadow, orchestrating every detail, turning pain into purpose, delay into direction. He was using what the devil meant for destruction to refine you into someone unstoppable. And now you are walking proof that no weapon formed against you prospers. The devil's weapons may have touched your life, but they did not take your soul. They could not take your hope. They could not take your faith. They could not take the promise sealed by God Himself. You are stepping into a season where the fruits of your endurance will begin to appear. You will see it in the small things first. The peace that returns where fear once lived. The laughter that bubbles up where tears once fell. The opportunities that find you without you chasing them. These are the signs that the promise is breathing, that the vision is awakening. You will feel the gentle wind of restoration begin to move through your life. People who left will no longer haunt you. Doors that closed will no longer define you. The devil will try to remind you of your past, but you will no longer flinch. Because you'll realize that every scar is sacred. Every wound is a witness that God brought you through. And when the fulfillment comes, when the promise takes form, it will not be quiet. It will pour into your life like a flood of light, illuminating everything the devil tried to darken. It will come in ways you could not predict, through people you never expected, at a speed that will leave you breathless. It will not just bless you, it will transform you. You will not walk like someone who barely made it through. You will walk like someone who knows what it means to be carried by grace. You will walk with your head lifted high, not in arrogance but in awe, because you will finally understand that God's timing was perfect all along. You will see that He did not forget you, He was preparing you. The devil tried to make you doubt that you were chosen, but now you see that being chosen was not about ease. It was about endurance. It was about carrying light through dark places. It was about holding faith when everyone else lost it. It was about being the one who stood still and said, "Even if He doesn't do it now, I will still believe." You are that soul, the one who refused to let despair have the final word. And now heaven is honoring that persistence. You may not have seen it yet, but things are moving in your favor. What was once withheld is now being released. What was once hidden is being revealed. What was once locked is opening before you. And when it does, remember to stay humble. Remember that the same grace that brought you out is the grace that must carry you forward. The promise is not the end. It's the beginning of greater purpose. For your victory is not meant to be kept, it's meant to be shared. Someone else will need